I'm folklorist and author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erica Lance.
And we host Eerie Travels.
It's a podcast where we discuss all things strange and unusual.
We discuss everything from Bigfoot to UFOs.
From Mothman to haunted locations.
From hidden history to legendary beasts.
From Cocaine Bear to the Jersey Devil.
From holler monsters to conspiracy theory.
We interview amazing guests that are actual investigators into the things that many believe to only be in the world of the imagination.
We also get into verbal debates about which monsters would win in a fight.
If any of this sounds interesting to you, then join us twice a week on your favorite podcast platform.
So look for Eerie Travels, and we'll see you on the other side.
Gather around the fire, my friends. Welcome to the Drunken Cryptids. I'm your guide, Matthew. Here, you'll hear encounters of the spooky, paranormal, the strange, and the unknown. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's showtime.
Was these two globes. I don't know how to describe them. And I stood up there and looked at them, and it's like...
That how she turned and looked at me, she backed straight up to my closet door.
I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a chupacabra. I was so excited.
I've been drinking something I affectionately refer to as a Matty Rita.
And welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. This is going to be a special episode. We're dropping it on today for the significance of what today is going to be. So at the time of the recording, obviously, we're recording a few days in advance, so podcast time travel. Normally, I'll get the whole day, hey, welcome back. But we're going to talk about a very somber issue tonight. It's sobering, it's empowering, it's taboo. It's a very sensitive subject, and it's something I don't think gets talked about enough. And with me tonight to talk about this is obviously Jacob.
What's up?
And of course, I have a really good friend of mine from the time we served together in the military is my good buddy Ryan.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great, buddy. Doing great. I know it's a tender topic and everything, but Ryan, you reached out to me about a month ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. A little over 3.5 weeks ago. So yeah, right around a month.
Yeah, we started planning this episode, and the original plan was you were going to come down here and hang out.
Yeah, it was. I got a little sidetracked, and things got interesting, and unfortunately, that road trip didn't happen.
Man, trust me, I feel you. I feel you. With everything that I do, between... wow, somebody's really impressed with their engine. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bonus of recording outside. You get to hear...
I can hear that. Yeah, I was going to say, I can hear that from Missouri.
We're and everybody in the audience, we're going to get serious. So we're trying to lighten the mood up a little bit before we get started because we're going to cover some pretty dark topics here. And this is for the adults only. And this is an adult content show. This episode is. So I don't recommend you have the little ones listen to the show. I'm going to pre-warn you now because we're going to cover some really tough topics here tonight. And so, but Ryan, you reached out to me, about a month ago, 3.5 weeks ago, and you had asked to do a show based upon suicide awareness.
We were going to do it for Suicide Prevention Month.
Yep, Suicide Prevention Month and bring awareness to suicide. And
share some stories, share some experience, and hopefully help someone if we can.
That's the goal. If we can reach out and help one person tonight, then this show is definitely worth it.
Yeah. If we can help you get out of our position or stay out of the position we've been in, this episode will be a success.
That's the goal that we're gonna work on and achieve tonight. Because all three of us have attempted. And let's just be honest, all three of us have attempted. I'm a victim of one attempt.
3 attempts.
Jacob's had 3, and Ryan?
I've got 3 also.
Man, you guys are like in a 3 club.
Yeah, it's not something to brag about, my friend.
No, it's not. I'm tough with the 1. I can just imagine and I knew about Jacob because me and Jacob have talked before. Me and Jacob know each other for years and years, and we've talked about some of his battles and gone through, and I always make sure, always a check in on Jacob, no matter what. If I don't hear from Jacob for a couple of days, I'll just text him, "Hey, you good?"
Yep.
And if he's not, he'll say, "Dealing with some stuff," and then he'll generally call me later on. And if he doesn't call me later on, I kind of blow his phone up.
He does.
And so, and I was interviewed this morning, and I was talking to the guy, and I told him about, Jacob events, and to where if I don't reach out to them now, if they, events will text me, he'll send me a meme. And if I don't respond within a certain amount of time, he'll send me another one, then another one. And if I don't respond, he'll show up later on that night. He'll just pull in the driveway. "Hey, man, what's going on?" You know what I mean?
That's a good system.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the system that we're on. It's a good checks and balance system for each other as well.
Absolutely.
But we need to have that too, though. So not only does he do that, for me, but I do it for him. I do it for Jacob, and I do it for all my other friends. Like, my big thing is whenever I hang out with everybody and they go home, Jacob will tell you, "What do I tell everybody?"
Text me when you get home.
Exactly.
Or text me when you're safe.
Yep. Text me when you're safe. Because I don't know where you're going and what you're doing, but just let me know you're safe. You're good to go, and I don't have to worry about you. So here's the main question, though. Who wants to start with their story?
You could flip a coin. I don't think anyone's going to volunteer.
A 3-way coin.
Hey, we could do a rock, paper, scissors.
Might have to dial in on another app for that.
No, that's hilarious. No, well, I tell you what. I guess I'll start. So
Okay.
you know what? I'll jump on the grenade. I'll be the first one to go.
Fall on your sword, sir.
I will fall.
Figuratively speaking.
Exactly. So, I got the service in 2004. I got out with a medical issue. I was injured. Constant chronic pain with my back, my hands, my extremities, and got out and struggled at first. I was alone in a new world. I had no friends. I was by myself. I used to call my old platoon sergeant back in Germany about 3 o'clock in the morning and beg him to bring me home. That's how lost I was. I ended up getting a job that I excelled at and started moving forward. Nightmares started to fade away. And Ryan, you know what I'm talking about. Nightmares started to fade away. Memories started to kind of fade away, and I just jumped fully into my job. But every day, I dealt with this pain. Every day getting out of bed hurt. Walking hurts. Picking things up hurt. Driving hurts. Sitting hurts. Standing hurts. All day long. Nobody had answers. The VA had no answers for me. Nothing. And it was a constant physical battle. And there was no real proof. And I didn't find any hardcore proof medically until 2020, before the pandemic hit. Yeah, a doctor actually at the VA said, I want an X-ray. I want an MRI lower. And they found I have 3 cysts on my lower spine that press right up against the nerves. And that's what causes the numbness, the pain, the discomfort. It's got my hips twisted, to where, I have a cane to assist me with walking, because I will lose my balance. Jacob will tell you that. He's watched me lose my balance. Just trying to move stuff around. I'll just drop to where I can't do it, to where I need help a lot. And, of course, that hurts your pride as a man. You know, it hurts your pride to where, you know, what you should be able to do, you can't do it. You know, I got 2 little kids, and they want to run around and play, and they want me to get down and play with them and throw them around the pool. And you can't do it. That's your kids. And you should be able to do that. And I can't. And 20 years of this constant chronic pain every day starts to weigh on your psyche, to where one of my favorite shows, believe it or not, is House. You remember the show House?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Dr. House was he was an asshole, but he was right. You know what I mean? So everything he was right. He was spot on. But the reason why he was such an asshole, because every day he was in pain. Every day. He dealt with the pain every day and fought with it. So, and he just, you know, that's who he was. And I related to the show so much and so many times to where, you know, when I'm in a severe amount of pain, I get short, I get snappy, and I kind of bite at people. I've done the Jacob before.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't, obviously, you know, it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
And I come real back and quick and apologize. Hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm hurting really bad. Yeah. You know, and again, that pride thing comes into play. So my pride was being hurt. Now, on top of that, you add in horrible relationships that I've been in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Horrible friendship, horrible intimate relationships, to where that weighs on your psyche as well. And it builds and it builds and it builds. Now, I've always tried to model myself to be the guy that you go to when you're in trouble. You're hurting, you call me. You're in trouble, you call me. If there's a problem, you call me. I'm the one. I'm the guy. I'm going to be your rock. I'm going to be there. And so I kind of built this persona up for me and everybody else, that no matter what happens, hey, it's Matt. He's going to be okay. It's Matt. He's all right. Come on, it's Matt. Come on, it's Matt. We all know Matt. We love Matt. So, went through, which would be just a kind of a normal breakup, something that Matthew would be used to. And he is. But at the same time that went on, a dear friend of mine dropped dead of a stroke, who was helping me with the show, who was this little rock for me, kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Hey, we're going to get content. The show was still in the infancy stages of where it was at. And he was like, you're going to be okay. The show's going to be okay. We got this, yada, 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 yada. And he was coming over that day and drops dead of a stroke. So now I had this added on. So, on the night of May 5th, me and Vince and Jacob went out for a few beers. And I asked him, please come out. Please, I need to get out of the house. Please get me out. Let's go out. And I sat there. And I cried. And I was telling him I need help. And I knew I was already in trouble. And I'd already scheduled appointments with the VA. And unfortunately, the VA is so backlogged that they weren't able to get me in. I know my appointment was like another month away. And I remember just looking at him going, I need help. I'm struggling. And not one moment through any of this have I been upset with either one of them. Because again, it's Matt. He's going to be okay. It's Matt. He's all right. It's Matt. So in the morning of May 6th, I woke up. And I was calm. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't anxious. And I called into work. Said I wasn't feeling well. And they were like, okay, you're feeling better. And I went to Walmart and bought a dryer exhaust hose came home. I wrote a letter to my little boy. I wrote a letter to my little girl. And in their envelopes, I put a little memento that I knew that they would love. And hooked everything up to my Jeep. Because I figure if I'm going to go in my most prized possession. And if you know me, it's just a Black Pearl. And I took melatonin to put me to sleep. I didn't sleep at all that night. And I was just going to go. I wrote a note, and I had it on the windshield, because one of my best friends works for North Little Rock. And on the note, it said, anybody but him. I'm not going to name drop him. Anybody but him. And I knew that I probably wouldn't be found for about 24 to 36 hours, if not more. And closed the door. And then the strangest thing happened. I snapped in a good way. I realized what I was doing. But I knew it wasn't right. And I started crying. And I got out of that Jeep. And I turned that engine off. And anybody driving by my house at that moment in time was going to see me standing out there, squatted down with my head in my hands, crying. I called Jacob. I called 2 other friends. And then my mom. Then I went and checked myself into the VA. Nobody had to force me. I knew I was at the end of my rope. And I knew I needed help. So I spent 3 days in the mental ward for the VA. And let me tell you something. just if you guys want any deterrent at all not to make this attempt, don't go. Yeah, you can go spend 3 days in the mental ward at the VA. And it was probably the most depressing place I had ever been in. I'm not going to lie. I even told them that. I was like, the walls are drab. It's like I told you, Jackson, you get excited. The walls are drab. Everything's drab. It's kind of like dark and depressing in here. You know? And they were like, yeah, we hear that. I was like, great, do something. I don't know. Paint some sunshine, rainbows, do something. You know what I mean? Unicorns on the walls. I mean, do something for us, you know what I mean? But, I was self-check-in, so they couldn't hold me, you know what I mean, because I was volunteer, so they couldn't hold me. Of course, spent 3 days meeting with psychologists, therapists. They did a really good job of trying to sit down, talk to me what was going on. They saw that I'd already made attempts with, setting appointments into place, trying to get get me some help. I knew I was about to crack. I knew I was about to. So I just didn't know how bad I was going to crack. And I was embarrassed by it. And my psychologist even told me, she said, I'll be honest with you, with everything that's happened in your life, from the horrible relationships, everything you've been in, the constant pain, all that stuff, I'm surprised you lasted 20 years. And, in some aspects I take that as a compliment, in some aspects I don't. I mean, no one should have to worry about lasting 20 years or 30 years or 5 years or 1 year or 3 months. And the stigma that flows around suicide and men's mental health. And I'm gonna call it out, men's mental health. I mean, I think the way that society and everything has gone now to where they have stripped away manhood. Our manhood, our mental health, to where we don't know what to be anymore. They want us to talk about our feelings. When we talk about our feelings, we're called weak. If we don't talk about our feelings, then we're hiding. We're hiding stuff.
No, we're just too damn stubborn.
there's so many things that, I mean, if we do something to where they, and I mean, the collective they. But I will tell you, though, that ever since my attempt, you guys, my life has gotten so much better. I've had so many blessings come into my life. It was like this awakening thing. Then I come to realize, and Ryan, when you got a hold of me 3.5 weeks ago, I was already in the thought process of doing something like this. And me and Jacob had actually brought it up before, a couple months ago, and we had talked about doing a show. So when you got a hold of me, that was God's way of saying, yes, you have to do it.
There's your third idea. Do it.
Yep. And because I do carry the memory of a soldier, one of my former soldiers, King. I was going through a bad divorce, and it was bad. It was really, really bad. And King sent me a message on Facebook. Hey, Sergeant, can I talk to you? And I never responded. I was slammed. I was emotionally overwhelmed, trying to process, go through this divorce. He committed suicide a couple months later. And all I can think of is that whole entire time, what if I just would have responded, yeah, man, you good? So I have to carry that. And looking back, I'm so glad I failed on May 6th. And this is one of the few times in my life I will tell you that I'm grateful that I failed. Because I can only imagine the stigma that my friends would have gone through. Or what my kids would have gone through. Suicide prevention and suicide awareness is a real thing. Men are more likely to commit suicide than women. Especially those who are either currently serving, have served, first responders, which includes our law enforcement, our EMTs, our firemen. And all those fields are masculine. They're tough. They're strong. Whether you be male or female in those fields, it's a tough, masculine field. You know this, Ryan. Mm-hmm. And to where you're supposed to uphold yourself to a certain mental standard. And if you have a hard time, they call it weak. They take you off the line. They pull you back.
At that point, from the outside looking in, depending on the job you had, you become a liability at that point. Like if you're barely keeping your stuff together as it is, like how are you going to help, someone else keep their stuff together? So like that mentality I get, but if it never comes up, nothing ever changes. And
that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, he battled cancer, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it, and he'll know who it is. He'll know who he is here in a minute when I say as cancer. And he fought it. He beat it. And he hated the term cancer survivor. So he started going with cancer warrior. So I'm going to steal that from him and say, we're not suicide survivors. We're suicide warriors. And I will tell you that going through what I've gone through and what took place to me, I know my red flags. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know my internal warning signs. I know what to watch out for. But, the blessing that I've had ever since then is my show's taken off. So let me just explain to everybody listening in. If I had finished and succeeded on May 6th, I want to be able to see my daughter sing the choir song a week later. I would have not had an opportunity to meet some of the people I've met through podcasting. A dream of mine that I've wanted my whole life is coming true. Now, I've been working my butt off on it, but it's coming true. I'm going to have an opportunity to go on a Bigfoot expedition with a camera crew filming me and a world-renowned researcher looking for Bigfoot. I am not going to be the guy on the couch watching TV, watching them do this. I'm going to be the guy on TV. That would have never, ever happened if I would have succeeded. My show would not be where it's at if I had not succeeded. I would not have a great friendship with the guys at Nevermore Hollows, my spiritual brothers, if I had succeeded. I want to be able to hear my daughter laugh. I want to be able to hear my little boy say, "I love you, Daddy." I want to be able to see my grandson. It gets better, and it got better on my end, and it does get better. It's not instant gratification, and I think that's what we're so afraid of in today's society, that we want instant gratification. You want an answer? Boom, you can Google it up. It's right there. And through social media, you know, and you have to tell everybody this. We only post the happy things on social media, do we not? Look, we're having a good time over here. Look, we're having a good time over there. So anybody going through anything bad, they see everybody on social media and they go, everybody's having a lot more fun than me. Why not? How come I'm not that happy? And you have to kind of remind everybody, it's social media. It's not real. It's real, but it's not real life. It's not. You're not looking at somebody sitting there at their job trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills that week. They're going to post some goofing off. Yep, it's Monday morning. I got my coffee. Here we go. Let's take on the week. They're not going to post on there, I am so overwhelmed with my bills. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to feed my kids. Am I wrong? I'm not going to post that. Jacob, are you going to post that?
But what?
You weren't even paying attention where you put the phone down.
I had to read text.
No, do you see me touching my phone and reading my messages?
No, I'm sorry.
Rude, party of one.
No.
But Ryan, you're not going to post that. You've never posted that.
No.
You've never posted anything like that at all, Ryan. Not one time have you posted anything like that. So there.
I learned that lesson right after my divorce.
Yeah, that'll definitely teach you. But I mean, you guys. So I mean, there's me. So now, let's talk about it. I've already talked, so I mean, I told you what happened. I mean, it's up to y'all to go from here.
All right, Jake, I'll flip you for it.
I'll go ahead and go. I don't care.
I'm Ryan. I've tried to clock out 3 times now. I don't know which way I want to go. If I want to go all the way back or not. I think I've traced it back to 2005, right? I just came back from Iraq the first time, and that was life-changing, right?
Yep.
Brand new E5, combat zone. It was on top of everything else that was going on. Like it was something else. When I came back, I had issues, right? Like migraines, like had just started. Like I caught myself slipping, like between the ears. And I remember there was one day I was driving to work. I didn't sleep for the crap. I woke up in a cold sweat. I threw up. When I realized what time it was, you know, just kind of like, oh, still got a little bit. Laid down on the couch, missed the alarm, ran up late. So I was heading back in the post, and it felt like somebody had like literally shoved an ice pick like through my temples. It was just searing pain like behind both eyes. And I wound up in the hospital for a week. They did a battery test, all this fun stuff, and at one point they did a catheterization. They put like a tube into my femoral artery so they could check my heart and stuff. And when I took it out, they put like a sandbag over the wound, and they wrapped it with strong band, right? And I was like that for probably 12 hours or so.
Oh.
And it was a lot of fun. Just trying to gimp around just to get like a banana and a cup of coffee. It's so much fun.
Not at all.
What I didn't know is that essentially is a tourniquet. It had pulled my hip like 5 millimeters past what it was supposed to be able to do. And it kind of like really jacked things up. And so with that going on, with that, little syncopal episode and, the hip problem and whatnot, my wife and I have been trying to have kids for a while, and we actually had gone in and started going the artificial route, and wound up pregnant with the twins. They moved me to the mailroom because they were gearing up for round 2. And like the whole time, my CO was telling me I was going to be on rear D, it's going to be on rear D. It's like, all right, cool. I'll be here, take care of the wife during the pregnancy. This will be fine. And like 45 days before they were going to pull out, they brought me back, and they changed the sections I was in, and I was going back to Iraq again. So all the plans that we had made had gone like right out the window. I wound up deployed again.
Army life.
Wouldn't have been so bad, but the second time around, and I can't believe I'm saying this, was actually worse than the first time around. Because when it started, right, like OIF 1, like that was how you wound up with places names like Brassfield, Mora, right? You know how Brassfield got its name?
Yep. You tell everybody though. Go ahead, tell everybody.
Oh yeah, it looked like an ocean of brass in that region, and it was a mess. And the second time around was considerably worse. Started off helping like pad management and whatnot, and at one point I got transferred over to a security team, and I wound up on the road like every night, like almost every night. Just running the DC and the Sergeant Major down to the green zone, running security for barrier missions, turning gated communities, all that fun stuff. And like there was something going on, a couple times a week, and it was anything but boring, right? You come home from that second round and try to stay in Germany. I've been there for almost 10 years. Why not just do, like one more round out to 10 and then pull it? Nah, it didn't work out. Came down to Fort Laramie when we got here, and I was on staff duty one night, and my wife called me, and first words out of her mouth in a panic was, someone stole our vehicle. Like, there's no way. It was there when I left this morning. And the moment I told her to step outside, she said, "Oh, there it is," I freaking snapped. And my CO for the rear detachment there basically gave me a command referral to BMD. One thing led to another. It took probably months before I actually started like really talking to the guy. And when I started, when that happened, like he made the decisions like, yeah, you're really no good to anyone. And I got medically retired. March 2010, I was out of the Army, trying to figure out this new life that was familiar, but it wasn't second nature. Because the Army, you like every problem you have, there's somewhere to go, there's someone to talk to, problem solved, quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that security blanket was basically gone. So on top of wrestling, the stuff that I was going through and trying to pretend to be a civilian, like it wasn't jiving up. June that year, my wife decided she wanted to split. I wound up moving into a trailer, tried drinking myself to death. I had a bar right across the street. And about a year, 2011, divorce was final, so about 2012, 2013, she took the kids and she moved back home, right? No court order, nothing. He like just took the kid. Like her parents showed up, they got the kids, they drove north, and yeah, that was the end of that. And when I found out that she was moving, I had this old Mossberg pump double gauge and or pump 12 gauge, and I decided that I was going to install a new skylight, as it were. And I don't remember what snapped me out of that one, but I wound up not doing it. And that was when I was still doing, 2 bottles, if not 1 bottle of Jameson, like a day. I think I kept Jameson stock afloat for several years.
We kind of keep them down here on a lighter note. We kind of keep them happy down here. I mean, we go through a bottle, I don't know, Jacob, what, about every 3 months?
Yeah.
I
would wake up.
Now, a couple of years ago, me and Jacob were almost the same way, but I had help. Jacob helped me out with the bottle. So it wasn't just Matthew by himself. Now, there were a few nights on the patio in my apartment to where it was Matthew, but Jacob helped me out. But go ahead. I had to throw a little light in there.
Yeah. I would wake up in the morning, I'd pour my coffee, I'd drink it with Coke with lunch, and then straight until I passed out at night. I just remember feeling some kind of embarrassment, It's like I was a volunteer on the fire department also. And just the thought of, orphaning my kids and then my friend showing up to clean up after installing my new skylight, I think that was what stopped me. So that didn't work at all. And a couple years later, I was having a hard time, holding down work and, paying for the house. I wound up borrowing some money from my dad. Bank wouldn't take it. And so I was still, essentially jobless, barely holding anything down. Got a hold of a bottle of painkillers from getting my wisdom teeth pulled. Chew those up, wash it down with a bottle of Jameson, and it feels like I was asleep for a week, and honestly, I have no idea how long it was. I know that I woke up in a pile of my own mess.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, okay, that was a wake-up call, good wake-up call. Just kind of started, kind of grinding it out again, working, several part-time jobs and sending, the majority of that money to my ex-wife for child support. 2016, I kind of laid off a bit. It's like drinking on the weekends, hanging out with friends, having fun. The what?
No, we're trying to get the dog sale down. I'm listening to you. So.
About 2016, I was homeless. I did lose a house. I was living with some friends. It's like I either living in my car or relying on the kindness of my friends was my home situation at that time. In 2016, I was staying with some friends in their basement, and I got a hold of a buddy of mine that I'd served in Iraq with, and he was a great guy. And we bonded over, mutual alcoholism, loss of family, small triumphs, get back on track, all that fun stuff. We started making plans for the summer of 2017. Not too far from you, actually. He was down the road just outside of Fayetteville.
Oh yeah, a couple hours away. Yeah, that's about 2.5, 3 hours away, depending upon traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's down there in Fayetteville, and we made plans to get together, go play on the river, go kayaking, camping, drink some beer, fires, the whole crap, shebang. And he was working on his PhD, he'd reconnected with this kid, life just sounded good. But he was one of those people too that he didn't go to people with his problems. People came to him, right? What nobody knew is he wasn't really dealing with his problems. And instead of getting together that summer of 2017 for, camping and river time, we wound up getting together for his funeral because he decided to clock himself out also. And shortly after that, I wound up at a friend's birthday party, doing shots of 151, we were eating birthday cake. And at one point, I got into it with a guy that was a corpsman. He tried to drown me. He didn't know I could hold my breath for 2 minutes. When he let go of me and I got out of that pool, I went straight for my car because I was going to recreate some of the coolest scenes from the Dukes of Hazzard. And a buddy of mine stopped me. he got the keys away from me. He got me on the couch, and passed out. And at some point, I woke up to, Mr. Armstrong, could you sit up and look at me? And I was like, what? Like, nobody says that to me. I say that to people. And I sat up, I'm just madder than hell. And there were 2 deputies in my buddy's, living room, ready to escort me off the premises. And I did. I wound up going to, is Looney Bin still PC? Because that's basically what it was.
I'm going to go with it because, I'll be honest with you, it's my show. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I wound up in a Looney Bin for the day, and it was just full of privates that didn't want to run, couldn't do this, couldn't do that, and I'm just like, what in the hell am I doing here? And like that really kind of sobered me up a bit in that moment, and I checked myself out, AMA, and really started moving. Again, still, kind of hanging out with friends and, drinking on the weekends. But, like, I started doing triathlon. The drinking kind of started fading away. But, like, I would slip every once in a while. And I slipped big. But it never turned dark. It was just like, all right, we flush that out with, with 100 proof, move on. I go out and run, 5, 9 miles, try to. Hit the bike and swim, like, whatever. And, like, yeah, that was how I dealt with it. It wasn't until, last November, 2019, I ran into a school friend. We linked up and we wound up getting married 2021.
Congratulations.
My wife now. Thank you. And last year, I met another friend. He was a former Marine. He introduced me to some things, and it really cleared things up. Like around the Thanksgiving last year, I quit drinking. Well, let me rephrase that. I got my drinking under control to the point where I can go to the grocery store now, and I don't hear the alcohol section screaming my name.
What a blessing that is.
It's been fantastic. And so over the last year, I've really doubled down on just trying to use every skill that I have to create the life that I always imagined, this one that I built up to for so long, and it just got, basically a rug pull. So that's what I've been focused on now. And every day there's something different. There's something new. it's never the same thing twice. The environment's the same, but the conditions that I work with are always different. And it keeps me challenged. The details keep me freaking dialed in. And it's been good. So I started making chocolate bars. That's a good time.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you have to send me some chocolate bars. I love chocolate. I'm not going to lie. I have to have chocolate every night before I go to bed. Whether it be a piece of cake.
Milk?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm still I have one bar right now, right? And it's called Bittersweet. It's basically sweet and dark chocolate. I like it.
I'd try it.
I think it's good. It's not for everybody. But my milk chocolate recipe, I'm still really honing right now. I've got to go back to the drawing board tomorrow. It's gonna be a mess. But my first dozen sample bars, they're going out either tomorrow afternoon, Tuesday morning. Yeah, I'll just add you to the list, man. Just text me your address.
Of course I will.
Go from there.
But let me ask you a question though. So
yeah, shoot.
So with the attempts that you've made and everything that you've gone through. What would you say was the one key to help you overcome? Because if you listen to us, because we haven't got the Jacob yet, but we have successful stories now. So what we're doing, we're being successful at. So what I'm trying to get you to, what I'm trying to get at is somebody right now who's listening to the show, who's feeling the way we have felt.
If I had to give them a key to kind of snap out of it, Start saying yes to more, honestly. Like more things that, like more, I guess, like soul-filling things. 'Cause there's so much that a person can do, like really, really cheap, right? And just as like a tester, like do it, see if you like it. And if it gets to a point where you're going a day where you can't not think about it, you've probably found your thing, and focus on that.
I like that.
So I guess you gotta like the military, man. Like we were all for, you know, supporting and defending the Constitution no matter what, right? You see someone in need, you help them. And like when I became a civilian, like that was like the volume on that got turned way down. Like it might as well have been muted, right? And like that purpose was freaking gone. And like I think I felt more lost than anything, you know, not having like this overarching like thing that I wanted to do, if that makes sense.
Right. So how did you fall into chocolate? No pun intended.
Yeah, something popped up on YouTube one day. I was like, I bet I can do that. I was like, I can melt chocolate chips and make it into a bar.
I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like something I would do.
And I did, and like it got so addictive. Like learning how to make it from scratch. Like one day, like I want to be able to go from bean to bar, like the whole thing, right? I want to order like a cocoa bean pod, right?
Yeah.
Crack it open, dehydrate the beads, like grind them up, bake them, and like go from seed to bar, like in one. It's just in a straight line without having to do like any, like out having to rely on someone in the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
And, I don't know. It's just, it got addictive. I made that first one and it turned out pretty good. And I did it again and again. Started trying different chocolates. I started playing with like cocoa powders and like, different sweeteners, ways to sweeten it. It got out of control really quickly is what happened.
I can relate. The show has gotten out of control, but in a good way, though. The podcast has gotten out of control in an extremely good way. And it's funny you bring up chocolate bars. So, I'm president of the Steelers fan club here. And we, had our first game of the season. My daughter came out to watch the game with me. And she had seen some stuff for ducks at Five Below. And I said, okay, we'll go. We get there, no ducks. Nothing. So where's she at? The candy aisle. So obviously, I'm in the candy aisle. And I see this chocolate bar, Cocoa Krispies chocolate bar.
Just what you need.
Just what I'm not going to lie. I ate most of that. There's still some sitting on the counter by the coffee pot right now. And, snacked on that all the way home. and I said, hey, Sam, you want a bite? She goes, yeah. And she goes, it's not bad. I was like, what do you mean it's not bad? This is like Cocoa Krispies in a chocolate bar. This is great. And I mean, but I love the fact that you got yourself involved in something. And I've got a really good friend of mine, and we were talking about it, and he was like, the reason why you're doing so much better now is because, you have this podcast to focus on. You have your show, you have your passion. This has been a passion of yours for so long. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, yes and no. Because the month of May still wasn't easy. And that's the point I want to get out there for everybody listening. The month of May was not easy. But again, too, though, I do believe that God works in really, really great ways. So a friend,
mysterious.
Yes, a friend of mine.
Super secret swirl.
Yep. A friend of mine came over on Memorial Day. I was going to grill out Memorial Day weekend, trying to do the thing, had the kids, wanted to have a fun, relaxing weekend. And he just texted me out of the blue. Hey, can I come over? And I was like, yeah, I've never had a problem with you. And at this point in time, I keep my circle really, really small. And Jacob will tell you that. Really, really small.
Like one or two friends.
And I was like, okay, I'll let you come over. Come on over. So he comes over. And we're hanging out, laughing, cracking some jokes. And we're just, and he is. He's making me laugh. I'm having a good time with him. And he goes, let me talk to you about your show. And I was like, okay. And he goes, I want in. And I went, great. To do what? And he goes, well, I want to help produce. You don't have a producer. And I was like, well, I'm using Gunner. He goes, yeah, but I want to help produce. I've done this for radio stations before. I've done this. I've done that. And I was like, let me think about it. And about 3 days later, I called him up. And I said, hey, can you come over and bring your computer with you? He was here in 20 minutes. And I said, welcome to the team. Within a week, he had the show on all platforms. At the time, we was only on YouTube. He has on all platforms stuff that I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out Spotify. I was trying to figure this out. I was trying to figure that out. Trying to figure out how to get the show out there. He comes in and he just blows the show up. And that was in June. Now, so we had the month. Well, count June for 1 month. June is 1, July, August. Now we're going to month number 4. And everything that the show has accomplished since then, in a lot of aspects, is due to him. Thank you, Tommy. Mm-hmm. For what Tommy's done in the background. Where Tommy will push me to a point. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, hearing me on the show like, hey, everybody, how we doing? We're having a good time. Life was great, wonderful. Tommy gets to the other side of me.
We all do.
Jacob gets the other side of me, and I was getting overwhelmed. I mean, the show was growing. Everybody has a full-time job. And a good friend of mine, I've known her for 14 years. And, she texts me, hey, how's it going? Back and forth, communicating. And she didn't call me while I was at work. And I was just kind of venting out, oh my gosh, I've got this going on. I got that going on, this and this and this, to where my mind was like a computer with like a million tabs open. Mm-hmm. And I cracked a joke. I said, I may need an assistant. And she goes, well, I'll do it. And boom, she got calendars for me. She's got the digital calendar for me. So whenever I have interviews scheduled or I'm being interviewed or events or anything going on, she will text me and be like, hey, don't forget you got to call so-and-so. Don't forget you have this phone call coming in. Hey, don't forget Tuesday you have this happening. Don't forget you have that going on for you. That's where another blessing in disguise that came into my life that has been there. And that's, and that's the whole thing too, though, is that in all honesty, it's where if we'd have succeeded, these blessings in our lives, we wouldn't be able to have. You would not be making chocolate. Mm-hmm. I would not be recording content. And I'm actually going to be on the radio. I get a chance to be a co-host starting next month. Local DJ, had a morning show, left the show, had to wait 6 months to start his own show, waited for the time frame, starting his own show. And he reached out to me a week ago saying, hey, you want to be a co-host? Blew me away.
That's awesome.
And again, too, though, I mean, this is stuff that had been building for years. This wasn't just all of a sudden, hey, Matthew got lucky. I've known this guy for, good Lord, 10 years. Longer, 12 years. Met him when he was just getting started on the show. Great guy. We connected, had each other's phone numbers. We kind of goof off and text back and forth every now and then. Run into each other at concerts, stuff like that. High-fiving each other. Hey, how you doing? So when he's doing his own show, he thought of me. Now, of course, this would have never happened if I'd have gone through it.
Yeah.
And so if you're listening right now and you're feeling that dark spot, you have no idea what you've done 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 3 years ago, that's going to be good coming into your world. It's not going to be instant, but it's going to show up and it's going to happen, and it gets better.
Yep.
I promise it gets better. And the blessings are still happening. And the cool part about it is, this is what I love, is that since everything's happened on May 6th, the people around me, their lives are succeeding. So it's not just Matthew who's doing great. Everybody's doing great. Jacob, I want to brag about Jacob here in a minute. Jacob had, and here's the thing, if you would have gone through it, Jacob, you would have not gone to Vegas to play in a world pool tournament.
I know.
Hold on. A world pool tournament in Vegas.
And that was on the fence and going.
Out of Nowheresville, Arkansas. Your team qualified, and you took what place over there in Vegas?
33rd.
33
out of 600 teams.
Out of 600 teams, you came in 33rd. Do you know how badass that is? And the whole entire time you were there, I was texting you every day. Come on, you got this. Wasn't I?
Oh, yeah.
You know, but that's the cheerleader thing, you know? And with my friends in the circle that I have too, though, everybody out there, is that, you know, I had to go through friendships that were horrible and toxic to find my tribe, to get to my tribe. And I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for them. So I'm not successful because Matthew's lucky and Matthew can talk on the radio and Matthew can go, hey, welcome to another episode of The Drunken Cryptids. I'm successful because my tribe around me and how they've pushed me without pushing me, because they see my potential more than I do. And what I love is that they are right there. So every success, I'm going to be on the radio. They're not going to be on the radio. I'm going to go be on TV. They're not going to be on TV. But they can't wait to watch me on TV. They can't wait to tune in and hear me on the radio. That's why I mean it gets better. And it does. Man, I tell you what, if you're in a dark place right now, you go outside and you feel that sun shining on you. And if it's cloudy, yep, if it's cloudy, go outside. Stare at the clouds. If it's raining, dance in the rain. Twirl around, dance in the rain. That's what it's about.
Go outside, put your bare feet in the grass, put some dirt in your hands.
Mm-hmm. Every day.
Every chance you get.
Yes. All the time. That's why we hang out outside in the tavern all the time. Because I love being outside.
Especially with this 50-degree morning that we had.
Oh, I know. This morning's coffee was amazing outside. All right. Well, Jacob. Dun, 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 dun.
You up.
You're up.
Oh, I know.
Batter up.
So this is the first time ever talking about mine. Well, putting it on air, should I say. So in about 2010, I graduated high school, of course. But this all took place and started way before that. So all through high school and junior high, I was bullied and all that. I mean, not by my brothers. I mean, that's hard love, but I mean, through school, through people you didn't know, didn't make friends very well and all that. Always the awkward one. Everybody bullied you, picked on you. But I mean, to a point, it made a whole mental impact. To a point, yes, of course, I got on the basketball varsity team. I was starter, jock, and everything. But I mean, come back to look of it and all that. I mean, was it worth it? No. But it's just something that we had to go through. Not everybody goes through the exact same stuff that we do. But at the same time, it's just, I wasn't the fortunate one to go join the military, even though I wanted to. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, mine started with a girl. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, especially 18, 19, don't have your emotions in check. I mean, you just let them run wild. And come to find out, she dumped me for the class clown. And I mean, but at the same time, I got through that. But it's just the mental impact of what it did messed me up more than I thought it really did. So, I mean, after I heard about that, I just took a 2-mile walk. Freaking my dad's blowing up my phone. My mom's blowing up my phone. My ex-girlfriend's mother is blowing up my phone. Trying to figure out where I am because I threw my phone on the bed and went for a 2 or 3 mile walk by myself. And to a point I didn't realize that walk I did not need. That walk led a demon in. A demon that I didn't like. A demon that I didn't want. A demon that still haunts me. And its name is depression. 7 years, I dealt with it. From being in a dead-end job, messed up relationships, and it's just one thing after another thing. This happened, that happened, and it just couldn't do anything. So I meant, but all I was taught is tough love, stand back up, keep going. You're a man, quit showing your emotions. Come on. So I meant, growing up, my dad barely told us he loved us. But deep down, we knew he did. But it's just, it's hard. Especially for 4 sons. And I mean, to the point that you yell at your dad's face. We never got told we love us. But we knew you did. We grew up poor, but we didn't say anything. I mean, our mom did everything she could for us. So our dad. But it's just, tough love, come on. Pick yourself back up, keep going. I mean, I didn't have a cheerleading squad going through this to help me out. So mine, I faced it alone. But at the same time, it was something I did not know how to explain. So, of course, get a motorcycle, lane split semis at 100 miles an hour. Didn't give a crap if I lived or died. Just, you're on that thread. Didn't give a shit if it snapped. And everybody thought I was crazy. It's just at the same time, I mean, the adrenaline rush made me feel more something that walking around didn't. To the point it got so bad I started burning and cutting myself. I have accumulation of 4 cigarette burns, and each one has 12 cigarettes put out on it back to back. I have had stage 3 acid on my arm, left on it for 30 minutes, didn't feel anything. I mean, to the point I got razor blades start cutting up on my upper left arm. And it's just, everybody's like, hey, just let him be. Something's going on, but he's got to face it. But at the same time, it's just some people tell you, it's just, that's how he is. I mean, but at the same time, going through life, I felt like a zombie. Just never clicked, never fit in. And it's just one thing rolled after another. Until about 2016, 2017, I said, screw it. Got freaking drunk on a pint of whiskey. I mean, I was gone. Just rolling in my room, freaking clicking a gun. Till I had the balls to throw one in the chamber. Racked it. Stuck it against my temple. About that time I went to pull the trigger, my roommate knocked on my door. Threw the gun in the bottom of the pillow. He didn't know what happened. He goes, what's up? You been drinking? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, hey, let's go do something. I mean, by this point, I'm shit-faced, but I'm not like, I can't walk. You've seen me shit-faced.
Oh, I have.
But it's just, I mean, just threw the gun under the pillow. Freaking got home, dechambered it. Pulled the mag out, make sure it wasn't chambered. After I did that, threw the mag back in, just left it under my pillow. I've always slept with a gun. But it's just, don't know. But about a year later, I did it again. Exact same thing. And it's just, don't know what's going on, whatever it was, did it again. Get the same knock on my door. Hey, let's go do something. Did the exact same routine I did. Threw the gun under the pillow. No one knew. I mean, I was squeezing the trigger when he knocked the door. On the door. And it's just I don't know. I guess it was just more. I just didn't want you to see what I was about to do. Let me throw the gun. It felt like embarrassment. Like he ain't more, and it's just weakness. So it's just another year went by, and this was about 2000. No, rephrase that. It was 2015, 16. So this is about the end of 2017. The final chance I tried. This was a shotgun with freaking triple-aught buck. Had it in my mouth. I taste my shotgun barrel. Of course, reached down. About to put my thumb on the trigger. For Lord knows why, my phone was on the ringer. And it rung right when I was squeezing the trigger. Look down, it's my baby brother.
You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Take a breath. Take a breath. It's a really tender topic, and it's a really tough topic to get into. And if you've been down that road, you know the emotions right now that Jacob's feeling. And sitting across from him, watching him go through this is really heartbreaking because I didn't know Jacob at this time. I didn't meet Jacob till 2020. And one night hanging out, goofing off, he just opened up and told me everything. And I believe that we were up until about 6 in the morning talking about it.
Yeah, we were. So yeah, answered the phone call. This is about freaking 3, 4 o'clock in the evening. Answered it. I'm like, what's up? You guys, you doing anything? Like, no. Not like I'm freaking about to blow the back end of my freaking brainstem off. And he goes, you want to go hiking? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, where you want to go? He goes, I haven't gone to this place, Emerald Park. I haven't been there. I was like, I've been there. Let's go. So we went and walked around, but to this day, he doesn't know. I mean, that was to the point early in life when it first started. I wanted to join the Marines. I was about to tell on the dotted line to my cousin. Found out he became a triple amputee by an IED. So I backed out because I made my mom a promise. So I went. So I wanted to join the Marines or the Army. Of course, the two best ones.
Well, one of the two is the best one. Let me just put that out there.
But I made my mom a promise if I was on the enlist, it was going to be Navy or Air Force. I just don't know. My mom thought it was less dangerous to join one of those two. And growing up, I've always loved planes, so I was going to go for the Air Force. I've always wanted to be in that third element. So, but years later, after that all went down, my mom asked me why did I want to join the Marine Corps. And I told her the broad truth. Yeah, I see you making that grin.
I wasn't grinning. I was grimacing. I know the story.
Yeah, I know. But I told her it's because I was not planning on coming back alive. That, or it was going to give me the structural and the discipline I needed, because I didn't really have that. But at the same time, what the key aspects that helped me through is those cigarette burns and those razor blade cuts. My older brother found out. He goes, take off those ace bandages. And he saw my arms. He goes, those ain't regular burns. Those are cigarette burns. Why are you doing that to yourself? I was like, dude, I feel hollow. Like there's nothing inside. I feel like a zombie. So he goes, okay, we're not going to get you help. So about a week later, I went to, not a therapist, not whatever, just a regular family doctor. And he goes, okay, we're in here because you apparently attempted suicide. I'm like, or depression. I'm like, yeah. He goes, are you suicidal? Yeah. Are you depressed? Yeah. He goes, how many guns do you own? I was like, about 8. He goes, how many knives you own? About 60. He goes, are you, they good to be around you at this time? I'm like, Doc, if I wanted to go kill myself, I could go to Emerald Park and go jump off a cliff right now. You can't stop me. And he looked at me and goes, you premeditated this. I'm like, yes. If a gun ain't down to freaking be quick and easy. That's all it's done to be. But at the same time, I mean, you can take those things away. You can still find a way. But it just, after the impact I made on my parents and my brother seeing scars, they got me on antidepressants. And I took them for about 3 to 4 months. And they made me feel more like a zombie. To the point I threw them back at my mom's like, I ain't taking them. She's like, oh, you need to take them. So she's like, why not? I was like, it makes me feel like more of a zombie. So I end up, she's like, what you done do? I was like, I got to get this headspace right. And those don't help. So what got me out, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still fight that demon still. He's locked up in a cage. He still rattles that cage still time to time. But at the same time, what helped me was going hiking, kayaking, going in nature, just fighting, changing jobs. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just something helped, something clicked. I mean, but it's just one of those monsters that you'll still fight all the time. And Jack is popping the legs of the table with his chair.
Yeah. His tail.
Yeah. But it's just, I mean, getting out in nature, even at the same time, I mean, everybody's like, oh, who you going with? I was like, I'm going by myself. It was me and nature. It was all it is. I mean, I've multiple times walked Emerald Park here in Little Rock. Walked it, sit on the edge of the cliff, and everybody's like, oh, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. That thought's past. It's just something I have to deal with now. This is where I get my headspace right. This was the place I was at to end it. If I couldn't have a gun. So I freaking sit down and freaking thought for a while. Just daydream what life would be without me in it. To the point, who would I hurt the most? I think my mom and dad, my aunt and uncle, my brothers, and then the little circle of friends I got. But yeah, you would never have met me, Matt. But
you would have never met me.
But it's a demon and a monster that you still hold inside you.
You know, and I'm glad you bring it up and referring it to as that demon and monster and acknowledging what it is. And that was powerful. That was a powerful testimony you just gave. And what I like the fact of the matter is, you know, me and Ryan are coming at it from a military side. You're coming from it from a non-military side. So somebody listening right now who hasn't served in the military probably just heard your story and was like, that's me. That's me. You know, and I like the fact that you ended it with you are going to battle with it. And once you have depression, you're always going to deal with the depression. It's always going to be there. And everybody deals with it. They do.
It just becomes more manageable as you go on.
It does.
Once you acknowledge, and that's a key thing too, though, is you have to acknowledge the depression.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge, hey, I'm going through a bad spot. I mean, there's certain times of the year that I struggle. And, you know, and I'll be honest with you, one of the things that really helps me out is music. And when I got out of the hospital, it was about 11:30 at night. And a really good friend of mine, not name dropping him, he was the one that I told not to have the cop show up with. I mean, at 11:30 at night, sends me a song. And he goes, "Love your brother," Fire Pit song. And I started it laying there in bed, and I was like, I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that song was so powerful to where it's become my anthem. Mine Again. It's a country song. Mine Again. I am mine again. And I love that. Acknowledges everything, the mistakes I've made, where I've screwed up at. And I think that we have a hard time acknowledging that. We're trying not to recognize mistakes, recognize bad choices that we've made. Mm. And I think that's a big key to healing and moving forward, is to be mine again. And, of course, you know, if I'd have known you back then, I'd have been sitting up there with you on the cliff.
Oh, I know.
I would have been cracking a joke with you. That's why you're laughing.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Because you already know.
But it's just...
But I do want to circle back to all y'all real quick, because I was making notes while y'all were talking. You know, Ryan, you mentioned 2010. You got out of the service. Yep. And I remember you and me talking about this. Once you started talking about it, I wrote it down here. 2010, got out of the Army. We started talking a lot. We were Facebook messaging each other all the time, remember?
Mm-hmm.
You're
still working for the that other company.
Yep, and then I started working for Schwann's. I got a job at Schwann's. And you started going through your divorce when I started going through my divorce. Mm-hmm. And we were comparing notes.
Yeah, yes.
Remember?
That's essentially what it was. Yeah, no, we were, I think we were, probably the more apt term for it was comparing the suck.
Yeah, it was. Man, mine sucks. Man, mine sucks too. And it felt good to know that we weren't alone at that time.
Yeah.
You know, okay, hey, my friend's going through this the same thing. Oh, dear God. So if it can happen to me, it can happen to him. It can happen to anybody. So I'm not secluded. You know, and I mean, but the thing about it is, too, though, is that you mentioned another part, too, though, and there's something I want to hit on for the dads out there. Divorced dads fighting for their kids. The stigma that society has put on that. And I'm probably going to catch some flack for this one, though, but fathers are so important to children's lives.
They are.
So important. And to where finally, here we are, 2024, and lots of states, lots of laws are now acknowledging joint custody, not sole custody. But there was, you know, folks, there was a time in our country to where if you were a dad, a divorced father, and it didn't matter why the divorce happened, whether it was the dad's fault, the mom's fault, it didn't matter. Mom got the kids, period. I mean, it was an act of Congress, and we all know how politics are, to get any kind of rights for the father. Now, let's say that you're as a dad, you lose your job. And you're struggling, and you can't make that child support payment. Guess what? You can't see your kids now. Fathers had to pay for the right to see their kids. Mm-hmm. This is where our country's been going for the longest time. And now here we are, trying to get...
Finally starting to even out.
Yes, to a point. But at the same time, too, though, there's so many stigmas located out there, and there's so much about it when it comes to men's mental health, where we're not supposed to talk about it because it makes us weak. And I'll be honest with you, I think it makes us stronger. I think the fact of the matter, a good cry, a good strong cry, it kind of feels good afterward. Yeah, it still kind of sucks. It's like going to the gym. You know, go to the gym and get that strong workout in. You know what I'm talking about, Ryan? You're burning. Your muscles are burning. And you're hurting afterward, but it's a good hurt. Mm-hmm. It's a cleansing hurt. You know, and you talked, Jacob, about, you know, you could just jump off the cliff. Did you know that every person who's jumped off a bridge in a suicide attempt and survived, everyone has stated as soon as they jumped, they regretted it. So now imagine the ones who didn't survive.
Yeah.
Imagine that you jump and realize oops.
Now you gotta live in that state.
No, they're gone.
I meant
Yeah.
if you survive.
Yeah. But the thing about it, so think about the ones who didn't survive. That was them thinking I screwed up. And that is always played in my head.
Oh yeah.
You know? And this is where we, as not only men, but women, people, humans in general, we need to reach out. And I'm just as guilty as the next guy for not doing more. You know? But if you have a friend, and you can't be like, it's Jacob. Jacob's good. Ryan's good. Bob's good. Mary's good. Jane's good. They're tough. They're always cracking jokes. Robin Williams is a prime example of that right there. When Robin Williams committed suicide, I was more devastated. Not the fact that he died, but he committed suicide. I would have never imagined in my life that anybody like Robin Williams would have done that. I mean, for real.
Yeah, the guy had everything, and he was always trying to make other people laugh. Like, never in my life. Just seeing what I saw from Robin Williams' work, watching his stand-up, all that fun stuff, like, I never would have guessed that he was struggling with depression.
No, Chris Cornell. I'm a big Chris Cornell fan. I love his voice. He's missed. Because music is an important part of my life. It really, really is. And to where there's certain songs I listen to, and I have to where, you know, I need that pick me up. I need that pick me up. I need that good, positive, happy pick me up. We're gonna dominate. We're gonna rock. You know, we got this. Yeah. You know, like Mine Again, which is a great one. There's another one by Shinedown. What's it called? I play it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Gosh, I was gonna write these
Linkin
songs
Park?
down. No, I'm not. Well, you know what's funny? Linkin Park has good songs, but for when they hit the scene, I got burned out so quick on them.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Transformer movie.
Oh yeah. To
where now Linkin Park comes on, people go, man, I love Linkin Park. I'm going, I can't stand them.
Oh, you know the lead singer is a female now.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, but the lead singer at Linkin Park committed suicide, didn't he?
I think
Chester Bennington, he clocked himself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did commit suicide.
Okay, now I feel bad for bashing his music.
Man, let me look.
Yeah, it was right around the same time my buddy exited stage left.
You know, and that breaks my heart that we have these stories of people that were close to us, or that people, you know, like with King, who reached out and I wasn't able to reach back, and I have to live with that. You know, and I don't know who else he reached out to, but I know that he reached it to me. So to me, it doesn't matter who else he reached out to. He reached out to me, and I wasn't able to reach back. And to me, still, for 5 years, I've had to carry that. And I make sure I don't forget that. Because I don't want the next one to not have me reach back. And, you know, and I know now that I have to be more proactive on my end to make sure that I'm not a number. I don't want to be a 22. I don't want my kids to look at me as a 22. I don't want my friends to look at me as a 22. I want my friends to look at me and say, you know what? He is a suicide warrior. But you know what? Let's talk about how not to get to that point. Let's talk about that. How do we not get to that point? What can we do not to get to that point? And you know, when Jacob brought up a thing about with depression and medication. Mm-hmm. Now, Ryan, have you been on meds? Are you on meds at all?
Oh yeah, I'm currently on Prozac.
Okay, so is that working for you? Is that doing good?
Yeah, it's doing all right. I don't know. I don't know how to rate the meds. I think my brain, because when I first got out, I was taking probably, almost 20 meds a freaking day. Stuff for my heart, stuff for my head, stuff for anxiety, and I think I burned the wiring out. Like I go to therapy. Well, let me rephrase it. Not really therapy. I have a psychiatrist I see on a semi-regular basis, and like she grew up in like a war-torn country, right? As like a little girl, and she still came out of school with like a 3.5 or 3.8 GPA. Moved to the States, got her PhD. So like when I talk to her, like I know she gets it, right? But at the same time, like I don't feel like I'm being condescended to or thought down on when I start bringing this stuff up. That I think that helps more than the pills do, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also, it's like me, the VA put me on meds off the bat, right? Obviously, they're going to. And part of my problem I was having at the time was
philosophy's medicate and isolate.
Exactly. So actually, I believe that's the philosophy for everything now. We have a pill for everything.
Yeah.
Except for cancer.
We
Can't cure cancer.
Apparently, we have a pill for that, but nobody can afford it, apparently, and they don't want that out.
That's another show. That's a whole nother show there, Jacob. But we have a pill for everything. We can't cure cancer, but by God, we can cure erectile dysfunction.
Apparently.
With
a side effect.
Exactly. But the thing about it is, though, so when they put me on meds, I felt like a zombie. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd get up, I'd go to work, I'd come home, I'd eat dinner, I'd watch TV. I mean, I wasn't depressed, but I wasn't happy either.
Yeah.
But I think that we're supposed to feel these emotions. We're supposed to feel sad.
Yeah.
We're supposed to feel happy. We're supposed to be, neutral sometimes. But that's what the emotions are for. We're supposed to feel these things. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be depressed sometimes. That's okay.
Yeah.
Letting it get out of control is not okay. But it's okay to be depressed. It's okay to feel depression. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to go through something, a loss, whether it be of a family member, a loved one, a dog, a pet, a relationship, a friendship, your vehicle, your job. It's okay to be sad and depressed over that. It's okay. It's normal. It's going to happen.
You can't appreciate light without darkness. You can't appreciate quiet without noise. I mean, your mental health is the exact same way. Like, how can you appreciate, feeling good if you don't go through the suck?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's like working out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you can't appreciate feeling stronger or getting swole if you don't feel the pain. It's
And I got to be honest, I do miss working out. I do miss PT. I'm not going to lie. I do miss PT. I miss working out. I miss all the physical that we went through, in the military. Going to PT every morning, going to the gym, staying in shape, staying trimmed up, and the burn, and all that stuff. But you felt so good afterward. You felt so good about yourself. I mean, you look in the mirror and go, man, look at me.
I mean, it's the exact same thing of being in the construction world. I mean, freaking me being an iron worker here and all that, passing the buildings, like, dude, I was a part of that. I built that.
See, how cool is that?
It's something about it that, like, every time I freaking build a building, I can freaking weld my initials into the building or freaking Sharpie.
I would.
I was a part of that.
I would. I'd have googly eyes everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
I know. I do googly eyes everywhere. I can't help it. It's like my little trademark. It's become one of my little trademark symbols. So if you see googly eyes out there in Central Arkansas, folks, there's a 90% chance it was me. I will. I'll get pictures from people. They'll send me pictures, and I go,
Was this you?
And I go, yeah.
I love that one night we were down that town in Argenta, and there was two cops on the sidewalk. They're like, what is he doing? And they looked and saw you put freaking googly eyes on that freaking fire extinguisher. They're like, that's good. That's gold.
Yeah, and they let me do it. That was a great part. And last time we were down there, they were still there.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're still on the sign.
Yeah.
Down there in Argenta. Oh, yeah. I mean, okay, that right there. There are certain cool things, little things that you can do to make your mental health better.
I mean, it doesn't just cheer you up. It cheers others up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the point, too, though. So even go googly eye something. Everybody listening, go out, get some googly eyes, and go put googly eyes up.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you will have a blast. And when you get done, you're going to be laughing. But that's what life's about. You know, and I've argued so many times to where, you know, you got to remember, you know, God created earth for us. This is what he created the earth for us. This is us. He gave us dominion over the animals in the land. And I get so tired of hearing everybody say, yeah, this is Satan's playground. No, it's only Satan's playground because we've allowed him to come in. We have brought him in to do this. This is our playground. This was for us. God gave us these emotions and these feelings and everything because that is what we're supposed to be. We are the most unique creature on this planet who experiences all this stuff. So not only do we get to feel depression, but man, we get to feel love. Mm-hmm. Man, we get to feel happiness. Man, we get to enjoy a cheeseburger. We get to go and get tacos just because. We get to have a cup of coffee.
I had tacos the other night.
I know. Sammy wanted me to cook tacos, and I got the hamburger meat, so I got to cook this hamburger meat this week.
Mine was deer.
But we get a chance to do these things, you guys. And now that we're, you know, what we've gone through, now we get a chance to help other people out. True story. When this happened, yep. So a couple months ago, 3 months ago, when I was contemplating all this stuff, and me and Jacob brought it up. I talked to Jacob about it. You know, I'm thinking about doing an episode. Something's kind of pushing me to do this stuff. And I did. I honestly prayed on it. I did. I prayed and prayed and prayed. And I kept getting the same answer back. It needs to be done.
It does.
It needs to be done. It needs to be done. And it's not for my ego or any crap like that at all. It's the fact of the matter that, you know, I made a post about it on Facebook. And Ryan, I think you read it, you said. And I didn't put it out there for like, oh gosh, feel sorry for Matthew, poor Matthew. No, what it was to bring awareness. Listen, This is a real deal. This is absolutely real. And I had a soldier message me, former soldier message me, I think 2 days later. Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant. Last year I tried. It was bad. I was in the hospital for 5 months. So that one post I did touched somebody. One person. And that gives him the strength. And if he's listening right now, and that gives him the strength to make sure that he doesn't do it again, then it was worth it.
I've had people come up to me and said that. Freaking, they're like, why are you so quiet? I'm like, freaking, if you meet me in person, I am quiet.
Ryan, no, he's quiet even on the show.
Yeah.
So,
it's not like a shy thing with a girl.
I'm trying not to let every thought like pop out of my head.
But it's not like a shy thing with girls. It's just like I'm just quiet.
Is self-control.
Yeah.
No,
I'm like this all the time. Besides at work.
No. So we have a funny. So whenever we're all hanging out and stuff like that, we kind of wait, and you know we come down here to the tavern and we drink some beers and we're laughing, we're playing music and stuff.
I got to get about 6 in me and then I open up.
Then he won't shut up.
I did that in Vegas, and all my friends are like, "Why won't you shut up now?"
Last night, he wouldn't shut up. I was like, "Really, Jacob? Really, Jacob?"
But I didn't have that many beers last night. All right.
I know you were on one last night. It was great. But again, for everybody out there, it gets better. I mean, everybody who's made the attempt, who survived the attempt, in all honesties, it gets better, and they regret it.
Oh, it does. I mean, it's just something that you got to figure. It will still be with you. It'll linger with you, but at the same time, it's part of you now.
So, how are you processing everything now, Jacob? How are you handling it now?
Changing your whole mental mindset.
How are you doing it?
I mean, focus on the good. I mean, you...
Give us some examples.
I mean... For
you, not for everybody else, but what are you,
for
Jacob?
Me, I mean, yes, I'm a procrastinator to a point. And
he is.
And I mean, when that freaking negativity just pops in my brain, you just have to focus yourself. Throw on a Cary Grant movie. Something different. It's not the same routine. Just throw a wrench in the freaking engine. Throw the whole thing to freaking side and freaking change it up. Rebuild it. But,
Tell us how you're doing it. Because I'm picking on you because you just last talked. Then I'm going to pick on Ryan. Then I'm going to pick on me.
So, I mean, okay, let's start. Okay, So when I made that mental change, threw my pills away, depression is not in this pill. This pill ain't gonna help me. This is just gonna give me a side effect to pass it for freaking to deal with it. No, the thing that you have to change is your mindset.
Okay, now let me pause, everybody. If you're on medication right now and you need it, stay on it.
I mean, true.
No,
But
I'm just throwing that out there.
Not all medications are for people, for the certain people. I mean, I was one of them. But at the same time, it's just I had to change my whole mental mindset, what I focus on. And first of all, it was change my job. My next older brother was in construction. He knows I love tinkering and welding, and he knows I wanted to weld. He knows I love building stuff. I was always a Lego fan growing up. He knows I love building. So he goes, dude, I got this gig. We got an opening. Oh, man, I got to give him a 2-week notice. No, dude, come on. Dude, come on. So I was like, all right. Went in and gave him a 2-week notice, called my brother up. He goes, dude, you'll make more money here than you will do there in 2 weeks. I'm like, fine. I went back in and threw the keys to my boss. I'm like, hey, I'm out. My boss sat down. He's like, dude, sit down for a minute. We talked about it. He goes, if this is what you want. So we left on good terms. And he still fights to get me back sometimes.
No, I'll be honest with you, Jacob. I can't see you leaving on bad terms with anybody. I mean, you are such a... I mean, you're
Say
a
that to
great
my
guy.
ex-girlfriends.
I know your ex-girlfriend.
But it's just...
And I've said it.
But at the same time, me and my previous job left on good terms. They still asked for me back, try to give me raises, come back. I was like, dude, you got to match what I'm making now. If not close to it. They still have not come close. But it's just... For me, I am a drilling junkie to a point. I mean, I've been on 9 stories walking a beam, and like one side is 15 feet, the other side is 9 stories down. I'm like, ooh, do I fall this side or fall the other side?
Okay, folks, he will send me selfies with a big grin on his face. No lie. Throughout the day, I'm getting selfies of Jacob up there, 9 stories up, smiling. And I'm like, yeah, you have fun with that, buddy.
Oh, yeah. But it's just at the same time, my brother helped me. And my younger brother helped me. My older brother helped me. And they did in ways that they will never understand. But at the same time, to change the whole mental game that I had to do was first I had to change my job. Because I looked at my job, it's a dead-end job. I am not going anywhere. I am not doing this till I'm 40 or 50 or 60. I won't have a retirement, blah, 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 blah. But now in this trade that I got, I can go learn to be a crane operator. I can go get my freaking welding license. I can go do this. I can go do this. But at the same time, the job that I have opened more doors for more experience or more places to go to make more money, where my first job didn't. So when I focus on, okay, let's better myself to help my future. Okay, let's do this. And then...
Well, real quick. So, again, I'm trying to find what was... Something happened to give you that nudge.
Well, it was just, it's hard to freaking really explain it because, you cannot explain to put into words what goes through your mind, especially when you're by yourself and you're thinking certain thoughts.
Oh, trust me, I relate 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But I want you to try and... you can't try and express what happened.
So when the whole thing was, it's just... The first thing that helped me click was going hiking. Nature. There is something about nature that heals. Everybody says freaking time heals. And it does to a point. But at the same time, nature helps. Go on there, go hiking by yourself, even if it's canoeing or kayaking or rock climbing somewhere by yourself. At least let people know where you're going. So if something happens, say, hey, he hasn't been here for an hour or two. Hey, let's go check this area out. But at the same time, be responsible. But at the same time, go there and challenge yourself. Sit on a ledge. Just you and nature, and just listen. And just admire everything. The beauty of it. What you're going to be missing if you weren't here.
So, my stepdad taught me as a kid. So, and Ryan, you'll appreciate this one. So, we had this gray van. And my stepdad loaded all 5 of us kids up. Me and my sister, my 2 stepsisters, and my stepbrother. in this gray van. And we went up this mountain. And the road was like a one-mule road.
Yeah.
And how he kept the van from falling off the road, I have no idea. And I'm in the front seat because I got to be in the front. And I'm staring out the passenger window at nothing. Nothing. Freaking out. My stepdad, laughing.
Oh, yeah.
He's having a blast. And if you've met him, you know, you can picture him laughing as he's driving this gray van up this mountain. But we get up on top, and all the other kids are throwing rocks, as kids are and everything. And I remember standing there just staring at the valley. And he walked over to me, and he put his arm around me. And I'm a kid, so he was, come down. And he stood there with me for a minute. He squatted down. And he said something that stuck with me for the rest of my life, and it was this. Matthew, I don't care wherever you find yourself at in the world. Stop. Take a look around. And you'll be surprised by the amount of beauty you will see. And I can tell you by going around the world, and Ryan, I know you'll back me on this one, we have seen beauty in places to where you should not see beauty at.
True story.
Sunrises, sunsets, flowering cactuses, weird things. That just clouds coming through, and just how it makes it so surreal. And I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I think, and I've talked about this ironically enough with some other shows, and we've gotten away from nature. If you think about the problems that we have now, that we're going through now, right? We are more, I'm going to use my fingers, civilized. We live civilly. We live in houses. We live in neighborhoods. We live in suburbs. We live in buildings. We live in a concrete world.
Yeah.
We don't live in a dirt world. We don't live in nature anymore. We're not in nature all the time.
Yeah.
If you notice, the guys who are going out, who are spending all their time in nature, don't they seem to be just a little bit happier than everybody else?
Oh, yeah.
So I think, we've gotten away from nature.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's part of our
Literally
problem.
grounded.
Yeah. And then we stuck ourselves to our phones. And I'm just as guilty as everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I'm just as guilty as everybody else. And I'm not going to blame phones for the problems now. I'm not going to blame the internet because, I've made some good friends, and you know them. They talk to you. And they love the fact that the people at the tavern check on them.
Yeah.
And they'll text me, "Hey, how was so-and-so doing?" And they've never met. So through the internet, we've done that. We got Todd, Todd Guthrie, the music guy. He'll message me once a week, every 2 weeks or whatnot. "Hey, brother, man, how you doing? Checking in. What's going on with you?" He knows
3 states away.
Yeah, he knows nothing about what's going on with my personal life. He's just checking in. "Hey, man, how you doing?" So through the internet, we've been able to reach out and connect with other people, which is in a good way. But we're also going to be able to reconnect with nature.
But at the same time, you have to learn to disconnect from that.
Yes, you do.
That's the biggest deal. And I know Matt is shaking his head up and down because I am
hold on. If you could see right now, I'm glaring at him.
To the point, I'm a prisoner of my own phone to a point.
No, he is. He will sit down here, and we're all talking, and there's Jacob on his phone until he gets 6 beers in. Then the phone gets put down.
Searching something. I am watching memes or freaking stupid.
With the volume turned up.
Or low. One of the two.
Turned up.
But it's just at the same time, that's one thing I had to do is learn to disconnect. But at the same time, did I get back in that problem of watching my phone all the time? Yeah, I did. But at the same time, it's just what helped me out was going hiking by myself. Something where I can be alone by myself, my own thoughts, and process them and throw them in the file cabinet where they need to be. And organizing and all that. To the point I still had to throw that freaking monster in the fucking cage.
Well, the monster's always going to be there, and it's going to get out. And I'll be honest with you, in the 4 years that I've known you, the over 4 years I've known you now, I've seen the monster come out. I've watched you deal with it. And I also made sure that you weren't alone dealing with it.
I know.
So when something happened, I made sure every single day. And I did what I could to drag you through it.
Yeah.
And I did. I'm not going to lie, Ryan. I had to drag him through it, sometimes kicking and screaming. And I'm sure he hates me at points in time, at that time frame. But I will do it again to make sure that I have my best friend still here. And I don't lose my best friend.
I'll still be here. I ain't going anywhere. I'll make sure I ain't no 8 foot in the ground.
Yeah, because it would devastate my kids.
Yeah. Because, there is one Latin phrase that I like. Momente mole. Remember death. It comes. You always have to remind back in your head, even though you want death to come, death will always come when it's time. So just live your life to the fullest. Freaking put it in fifth gear and keep going. But at the same time, it's just you gotta learn how to deal with certain things in a certain direction. How to, like I said, how I did mine is how I had to freaking put my thoughts in the filing cabinet in the right order.
Well, make sure you don't lock it away too, though. So make sure
No.
you're able to process it,
No.
and that's the key thing too. And I'm sure Ryan will back me on this one. You have to be able to process. You have to be able to process those emotions. You have to be able to process those feelings. And if you have a hard time with it, I'll be honest with you. Everybody has somebody in their life. They may not realize they have that. There's somebody right there. I promise you, who is going to help you, who is willing to help you because they do care.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're talking to the people who aren't there, who aren't really there, and you know who they are, even in the back of your mind, you know who they are.
And it's just the little things. Just like the little mean phrase that me and Matt has. Don't worry. There's more.
Yeah, so I quote the 13th Warrior to him all the time. It's like,
Don't worry, little brother.
It's all right, little brother.
There's more.
There's more. You know, and I love movie quotes, and I love music. And those are the things right there that you have to hold on to. Like, Ryan, for you, so what are you doing? So what was the one trigger thing to get that nudge for you?
Can you rephrase that? I don't think we're on the same subject there.
No, yeah, so, you know, we're talking about that nudged you to get better.
Oh, Christ. I mean, just bouncing off the bottom. You know, something can only go down for so long, and you bounce. Mm-hmm. Like, I had gotten so sick of myself at some point that, like, I literally just started saying yes to doing more things. You know, it either worked out or it didn't, right? Like, I picked up intraday trading on the stock market, and, you know, started with a little bit, got to a good place. Like, I'm still struggling to figure out, like, my first 6-figure year, but that's one of the things I still do, like, first thing in the morning. The chocolate thing, and that started as a damn fluke, you know. But there were other things that, you know, that I started, and, like, it went, like, so far, and it didn't really, like, pan out the way I thought it was going to. So I just, you know, if I bought stuff for it, I'd sell it and just recoup what I could, and went on to my next thing. And because, like, I felt like I'd gotten kicked in the ribs, and I was just laying there wondering what to do next, and I got tired of it. So, yeah, I don't know. Eventually, just, you know, got up on my knees, started dusting myself off, got up 1 foot at a time, and just, yeah, I'm not dropping that bomb on your show. It basically just started, like, if I get knocked down, like, I don't stay down. Like, my recovery time has gone way up, and for that, like, I like to joke about breaking my arm, patting myself on the back for it.
As you should.
Yeah, I think that was it. Was just tired of being down all the time. You know.
I mean, I'll be honest, you two should be proud of yourselves from where you've been and where you're at now. I mean, this is where y'all are at is amazing. What y'all have accomplished and done is amazing. And if no one's told you this, I'll tell you this. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that.
I'm proud of both of you. And Ryan, I've known you since 2003. 19 years. Can you believe that? 19 years.
I thought it was 2002.
Wait, was it 2002? Dude, I'm so old. I know. I get my days confused a lot of times.
Because we got there to
22
Germany.
years.
Yep.
But I've known you for this long, and I've watched you go on Facebook. And I you know, I'll be honest. I mean, I do Facebook stalk my friends. And the thing about it is that you guys, you've gone through so much and you've accomplished so much. And I remember you reaching out, and we did talk. You maintained a good communication. It may not happen every day or once a week, but every couple of months there'll be a message coming through. And I hope you know that at any point in time that you get anywhere, dear God, call me.
Same, man. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine not long ago. The guy that was in Germany was shortly after you left. He showed up, and he was going through something, and just out of nowhere, I saw this thing on Facebook. Thanks for everyone that reached out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whoa, time the hell out. I'm like, hit his DM. I was like, hey, man, you good? Like, you want to talk and, like, process this? He's like, yeah, man, let me give you a holler tomorrow. I was like, I'll get a hold of you after your morning session. I'm like, all right, I'm cool with that. And we're sitting here talking about it because, like, every time we talked before that, he's one of those guys. Again, he's one of those guys, you know, if you need anything, get a hold of me. If you need anything, get a hold of me. If you need anything, get a hold of me. And, like, I had to remind him, like, dude, like, that invitation, if you need me, get a hold of me, goes both fucking ways. You have me on Facebook, you've got my phone number. Like, there is no reason for you to not reach out. Like, I shouldn't be surprised that you're going through something by a Facebook post. You know, yeah, so we had that conversation, and
well, since you mentioned the reaching out part,
tightened things up just a little bit, and I apologize for that.
No, you're fine. I mean, I've already got this is labeled an adult show. This is going to be labeled for adults. So I mean, yeah, I mean,
18 and over only.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. YouTube may flag it, whatever, and say I can't monetize it one day, which is fine. I don't care about that. I could have 1 million downloads, and I don't monetize off of this one. I'm fine with it as long as 1 million people are listening to it, and hopefully, you know, 3 of those 1 million people are getting help. I'm happy with that. The point about it is I want to make sure, though, is that, like you just said, they're reaching out. I'll be honest with you. My mindset on the morning of my attempt was not to reach out. I was done. I was checked out. And there was, and looking back on it, it's like watching a robot.
Yeah, it was.
It's not me. That and you know, I try to explain that to people. It was a weird, surreal feeling. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I snapped. Was you know. The Sergeant Orton in me slapped me and said, you know, jackass, what the fuck are you doing?
I just had an incident like that a few weeks ago. Like, I hotlined myself.
What, you had Sergeant Orton slap you and say, what the fuck are you doing?
No, my NCO friggin' grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, like, you need help. I don't remember, I don't even know what triggered me. I was working, I was doing some research, and like all of a sudden, like I felt my emotions bottom out. Like, it felt like my gut just like bounced off the floor. And like everything went dull, right? Like you hear people talking, but it sounded like the teachers and the parents and like those Peanuts cartoons. Exactly. Like all the colors went like super flat. I'm just like, oh crap, this is not happening right now. And like something in the back of my head is like, you need freaking help. And I tried to get hold of my buddy. He didn't answer. I think he was out paying it for gold or something. And I wound up calling the crisis line.
You know what? That is on, dude. I'm so proud of you for that.
It was like there was no way that I was going to see whatever the hell it was that was brewing, like let it play out. So
I had the VA crisis line magnet on my fridge, and I look at it every day. And it's not as a reminder of, and I'll be honest with you. So, I mean, in all honesty, the VA, through what happened to me, let me tell you something. I mean, they call me a lot. I mean, we had a major storm come through like 2 months ago, and people were without power. They called me the next day going, hey, so we know in the area people were out of power, and did you lose power? Are you okay with everything? Are you holding up all right? I was like going, damn, y'all take this shit seriously.
Yeah,
I'm impressed,
and they should
like dedicated to it.
Yeah, I mean, I got a card.
Surprised to learn that.
I got a card like 2 weeks ago in the mail. I was like, oh shit, another thing from the VA. And it was like, hey, we've never met. I just want you to know I'm thinking about you, and here's my number if you want to call and talk to me. And I was going, all right, thank you, VA.
What?
Yeah, from the VA. So I mean, we bash the VA all the time, and we deal with this stuff. And I'm going to give the VA props right now because with what I went through, man, these people stepped up. I'm not going to lie. They came in. I mean, I was like, whoa. I mean, they were blowing my phone up more than my friends were.
Oh, so talking about the VA, aren't you scheduled to do talks there?
Yeah. I mean, so the show I didn't want to. I'm not here to brag.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, so I do talk to the VA. But the thing is that, because I want to share my success story and my sad story.
Mm-hmm. How you got here.
And the whole point of it is to make sure that I want, it gets better. And I want to be able, to where I'm going to own it. I 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 own it.
You have to.
I did it. I made the attempt. And thank God I failed. Mm-hmm. And I'm so great. Dude, I built a bar in my backyard. I mean, come on. I built a bar in my backyard. I'm sitting here with my friends who are supporting me, including you, Ryan. You're sitting here with us. You're on the phone. You're being recorded. But you're sitting here with me. So I'm here with my friends, and we're covering this taboo topic that I would have never. I'll be honest with you. If you'd have told me 5 years ago I'd be able to do this, I wouldn't have believed it. You'd have told me 4 years ago, Jacob, I'd have been doing this. I wouldn't have believed you. You'd have told me 14 years ago.
Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. I'm just here to drink beer and have a good time. Y'all leave me alone. But now I have an opportunity to reach out, and I'm hoping. And Ryan, again, something told you to get a hold of me after that Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
And when you and me got done talking, I'm not gonna lie, I sat here for a little bit. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I heard you doing your thing, and I heard a side of you that I hadn't heard in a very long time, and I'm just like, that's pretty cool. You know what? Maybe we can actually put this to some really good use. Why not?
Yeah, and you're the guy behind this episode. You're the guy. Haha, put you on the spot.
Yeah, sure. All right, if you say so.
I do that to everybody.
it seemed like a good idea, because even when you were working for the ice cream company, you were whenever I interacted with you on the few times that we talked and on DMs and whatnot, you seemed flat to me, right? And to hear you get that excitement that you had, when we would hang out in Germany, it was just like, holy crap, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas, and it just seemed like a good freaking idea.
Well, in some aspects, I'm going to quote John Wick. Everybody keeps asking me if I'm back, and you know what? Yeah, I think I'm back. And I feel like a part of me. I feel like ever since my attempt, to where I've gotten back to being me from over 20 years ago.
Yeah. With
that mindset, with that zeal, because you remember me, I loved being in the service. I loved being Sergeant Norton. I loved leading soldiers. And we'd get off work and we'd hang out in the stairwell, we'd hang out outside or whatever, me and Ryan would. Mm-hmm. And, we had 2 different MOSs. And I remember when you got promoted. And I remember how excited you were when you got promoted. I remember you came straight to my door. And you knocked on my door. And he had those brand new chevrons on his shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. And he was grinning from ear to ear. And I remember I gave you a big hug. And then I gave you blood rank.
I think those little mosquito bites are still there.
Hey, you're welcome. But
before that Velcro crap.
Yeah. We're gonna make the Army quieter. Here's some Velcro pockets. What the fuck?
That's a good way to collapse a sternum if you give them blood rank.
You're welcome. Yeah, they call that hazing now. We just called it a way of life. That's just how it was.
Congratulations.
We're going to make you bleed. It was great. All my awards, everything were all blood. But that was the cool thing, about who we were and what we were doing. And I loved that. And I missed that so much like you did. When I got out, I was lost. I didn't know who I was. And I remember, and my stepdad meant well. And it was, you're no longer Sergeant Norton. You're Matt. And I was like, who the fuck is Sergeant Norton? Who the fuck is Matt? Yeah. I know who Sergeant Norton is. I know exactly who that guy is. I don't know who Matt is. Yeah. And that's why I was calling Sergeant Norris. I just named Dr. Randy. I called him every night. And what really got to me, and Jimmy, if you're listening to this, you already know, Jimmy would call me, my buddy Jimmy, would call me about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning from Florida, struggling with his demons, saying, I've got a 45 and I've got a bottle. What do I use? And I'm crying to him on the phone, drink until you're passed out. There were no hotlines back then. There was nothing back then. It was us reaching out to each other. And I'm so grateful I wasn't that dark. I struggled getting out. I struggled going through it, and I missed it every day. And I still miss it every day.
That's half a gallon. You're going to need some help. I'm on my way.
Exactly. You know? But that was the whole point, though. And again, he would call me later on. I'm good. So, I mean, and to this day, I mean, yeah, me and Jimmy may not talk all the time. We'll message every once in a while. But I know for a fact if something's wrong, Jimmy's going to answer the phone. And he knows if something's wrong, I'm going to answer the phone. And that's how it should be. And my friends and soldiers and my former peers, if you're listening, you got me on Facebook. I'll answer. I will answer. I'm not too busy. And I know for a fact that Ryan will answer. And I know that I have to blow up Jacob's phone to make him answer.
I'll get back to you.
But we're going to answer. But I do want to start kind of wrapping this on up and say about the bonuses of the programs that are out there. If you are a veteran and you are struggling, the VA is actually doing a really good job. Yeah, they're overbooked. They're overwhelmed. I mean, I got to be honest with you. The country was at war for a very long time, and there's a lot of soldiers out there, former soldiers and veterans, sailors and Marines and airmen who are struggling. So the mental health system is overwhelmed, but they are trying.
In crisis, there is an entire department dedicated to helping vets.
And they will be on the phone with you. And believe it or not, if you need help, they will be sending medical services to your location.
And they are on it.
So you're not alone. I'm not going to... I've stressed all along through this whole episode where it's going to be okay, but I want you to know you're not alone. And if you're down, it's okay to feel down. If you need to talk, man, call that crisis number. Call it.
Go. If you don't want to talk, you can go online and you can text chat someone.
You can text them. You can actually do a text chat with them. You can text the number, and they'll be right there texting you right back. Don't be a number.
Don't be a statistic.
Exactly.
But at the same time, don't be embarrassed about it. Everybody goes through it. I mean, everybody deals with it differently, though.
Yep. Make sure you reach out. So I do want to end on some positive notes, and I do want to kind of lighten it up right there at the end because it has been pretty dark. It has been pretty this. It has been pretty that. I do want to end it with the fact of my tone that not only you guys, I mean, for being on the show, I mean, courage and bravery. I mean, I give y'all props. I mean, you came on and you talked about something that was near and dear and is a very, very hard conversation to have. So I'm proud of you guys for doing that. I'm proud of you. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Ryan, when I told Jacob we were doing it, Jacob didn't bat an eye. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm in. And I said, are you going to talk about yours? Without batting an eye, he went, yep.
Yeah, I've told my story before, and I've helped somebody out of suicide.
See?
He came back and found me the next day. He goes, thank you, I needed that.
That's what we're here for. And I can promise you, you're not alone. You may feel like it right now, but you're not. You're not alone. There's so much help around you. There's so many people who care about you. And you are loved in so many ways. You may think that right now that the only end you can see is your end, but I can promise you there's so much more. If you really want to know how suicide affects people, talk to the family members who've lost someone to suicide. Every day they miss them. And they second guess everything they have done in their life. And if you got kids, I promise your kids need you so much, and you need them too.
Yep.
My kids come out of the blue, and they'll just come up and go, I love you, Daddy, and just wander off. And I just feel so much better. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
No, that was a derailed thought.
No, derail it. Throw it out there.
Okay, so like when my ex-wife moved north, right? She took the kids with me, and even after I lost the house, like I was, living in my car, if not with friends. Like I wasn't able to like be there for them, and it just dawned on me like a couple of years ago, like I wasn't able to be there for them, but I'm still there for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I spend more energy now, trying to create a position for them that if they ever go through anything like I went through, like they won't have to struggle as hard. They'll be able to focus on themselves and get through it, get, whatever they need, basically. Yeah.
And that's something to be proud of, Ryan. And that's awesome, though. I mean, we could, in all sense, we could probably cover this topic for hours and hours and hours. I mean, there's so much we could dig into. And I'll be honest with you, I plan on trying to do this about once a year, this time of year. We're going to do this. And so, Ryan, you'll be on the show again next year. I just want you to know that.
I'm down.
And, we're going to talk about, what we'll do is we'll compare notes from this episode. Oh, my gosh, my dog is so loud. He's got to let everybody know in the neighborhood that he's back here and don't come here. But, and we're going to talk about our journey and where we've been. And what we've accomplished. And, I'm hoping that, a year from now, we'll have somebody else on with us to share their journey and their experience.
Yep.
And then the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that, and we'll keep it going, and we'll keep it going, we'll keep it going, because you're not a survivor, you're a warrior. Remember, if you need help, reach out. I'm posting in the links for this episode, the VA hotline links, the suicide hotline links, all of it. Click the link. Get help. And if you know me personally, you already know I'm a phone call away. Mm-hmm. If you know Jacob personally, he's a phone call away. You know Ryan personally, he's a phone call away. Because here at the Drunken Cryptids, this is a topic that we take very seriously. And we're not going to make fun of you. You need to email me. I'll make sure that you get one of us emailed back immediately. And one of us will call you. Of course, we're going to direct you to the suicide hotline. But if you just need to talk.
But you don't have to do it by yourself.
No, we'll be right there. We'll help you out. The best part about the show that I have is I have a team. It's not just Matthew Wharton. I have a team. I have a damn good team behind me. And I can promise they care. So, ladies and gentlemen, the song that's going to take us out, I selected it differently from my friend Kyle. And talked to him about it. He knew the show that we were going to do. And I love the song. It's a very positive song. And it kind of goes in with the title of the show. So I do want to say real quick, though, Ryan, thank you for coming on and being brave and sharing your story with me. I appreciate it, and sharing it with everybody else.
I hope it helps, man.
Oh, thank you, Ryan.
Ryan, it's going to help out. Jacob?
Yeah, it has been my pleasure.
No, I'm proud of you. I know I don't tell you that enough, and I apologize, but I'm proud of you. I mean, I give you, tell me, it's all right, little brother.
There's a moment.
Ryan, he's like my little brother that I never wanted, that I got stuck with. And you know what, though? I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the world. I'm not going to lie to you. So having Jacob in my life has been a blessing. So it really has been. I mean, to where my kids love him. They get a kick out of him. I mean, my parents know him. They love him. I mean, so I won't forget. It was a couple years ago. It was 2 years ago. Actually, was it two? It was 2 years ago. Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. So I volunteered to work that day at my job. Try and get some extra hours in. My kids were with their mom already, so no big deal. And it was going to storm. Because remember, so the night before was Wednesday night, and me and Jacob linked up at our local watering hole, and we were visiting, and he goes, hey, my mom made you some sides. I was like, what? He goes, and I have this ham from work. Do you want it? To make sure that I wasn't going to have nothing for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, the pleasure of being your friend, Jacob, has been all mine.
It's been my pleasure to be yours.
So, but everybody out there, thank you again for listening to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. I know this was a tough one to get through. If you made it all the way through, I'm proud of you. If you need help, reach out. Don't be afraid to talk to us. Don't be afraid to talk to somebody. The hotlines are there. Everything is there. All right, Kyle, take us home, brother. I appreciate it. Y'all stay safe out there.